You're listening to Hotep Ish with your host, Dewan B. Intelligent Ish Talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
I don't know what that is. It is something going on with my sound card. I don't know. But Apple Store, here I come. There we go. There we go. Yep, and that's why I am not doing. That's why I'm not doing any incense and ashtrays, folks. I was gonna do an incense and ashtrays last night, but I don't know what I could do. I would never like a brand new laptop I could do it from, but I like using my desktop. Shit. Anyway, thank you. Welcome. We about to have some fun today. Welcome, chat room. The year of exposure. If y'all remember, those of you who are new to the station, you know, I'm also a cardology reader. Card reader. Read the playing cards. And stay tuned. Next week, I will be doing a special show next week, reading the year for the United States. The United States is going into a 2 of spades year. That's the card of partnerships. But this calendar year, however, if you recall back in December, when I read this calendar year, 2023, I said, you know, we're in the 7 of Hearts year. And the 7 of Hearts is all about exposure. It's all about bringing to the light what's really coming on underneath. So I told y'all back in December, I said, it's going to be people we love that we're going to find out is full of shit. It's going to be people we think is full of shit. We're going to find out, hey, no, they not as full of shit as we thought. Maybe they got a little bit more to them. We're going to be seeing things this year on both ends of the spectrum. And so far this year, we've been seeing it. You know, Andrew Tate got exposed. And I never really followed him. I would just hear you niggas talk about him. I didn't really know what the fuck he was. Nor did I give a damn. But I did see that a lot of people followed him. And you see what happened with him. You know, you see what's going on with people like Tasha K. You see people making slick-ass moves. Like those of you who saw what we talked about on my show. We seeing some of these slick-ass moves some of these people in the so-called conscious communities making. Like, we kind of saw the little slick-ass move Boyce made, you know, with his event the week before Tariq's event. And I'm not even taking sides. Yeah, I throw comedy shows at Tariq's museum, but I don't have I don't jump in other men's beef. That, you know what I mean? One thing I know it about as men, two people can have a certain issue going on, but that issue could be stemming from something that you or I don't know. So I don't get into other people's back and forth. I just give my opinion based on my point of view. And from my point of view, when we saw Boyce throw his event the week before Tariq's event at the same venue, I saw that as Boyce is splitting the audience and trying to front load and front run. And I thought that was that kind of exposed for me, that kind of just exposed some of the things going on with his intent. Is your intent really the people, or is it prime real estate for yourself? And, you know, money and power position. These are questions that are only going to be answered when we look at how people are moving. Some of these questions ain't going to be answered. It's not going to be a big ass marquee up there saying, hey, look at what just happened. You got to just watch and see for yourself. And there's more people we only halfway through the year. We just getting started. So as far as this calendar year goes, 2023, man, it's already going the way I said it was going to go. We see what's going on with, Twitter, people, Elon Musk is being exposed as far as how well can you really run a company. You've been getting all these goddamn trillions of dollars from these investors. Now you over at Twitter, you got to really do something. And he been kind of getting exposed. You know what I mean? People are getting exposed on all levels. And the train goes on. So this year, Brother Polight, if you don't know who he is, I haven't been following this case too closely. I don't follow him too closely. I'm just talking about this from an objective point of view. What happens to him, we'll see. We'll see how the cards play out. Get it? The one that was corny as fuck. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out. But we will talk about this from an objective point of view. And one thing about Polight, he's somebody that, if you don't know who he is, he's a knowledge hustler. And when I say hustler, I don't say that in a good or bad way. I just mean he said it himself. I remember I think it was like a Breakfast Club interview or something like that. And he talked about how like a lot of people, they hustle these different things, and he hustles his knowledge, and I respect him for that, because I do believe, if you have a certain level of knowledge, you should be able to monetize and sell it. So I don't come from the camp of, just because someone teaches people, they should do it for free. I admire people who find ways to monetize their knowledge, because knowledge is precious, and people need to understand. And it's time that we as a people, that we grow up and start paying for the things that we need over the things that we want. And knowledge in particular areas, oftentimes as a people, black folks want that shit for free. And I do believe certain levels of knowledge should be free. I give out knowledge freely all the time here on this channel. I'm always giving you guys books to read, documentaries to watch. I'm always doing my best to turn your mind and turn your brain on into something that you may not have known before, or I give you a different point of view on something that you already have known. So I do believe in a certain level of free, but also at the end of the day, speaking is a lot of energy. You guys don't understand how draining this is. Like, and this is for me with a natural talent for it. Like when I speak, I really do I pull from a lot of spaces. I pull from experience. I pull from book knowledge I learned at school. I pull from just inspiration divinely downloaded through me from the universe. I pull from all sources, and I put that into a concise argument to give. But it's draining. This isn't easy. So I don't believe in telling people like Polight, people who have information, the different people out there in the new black media, or the people in the conscious community. I salute them for finding ways to monetize their consciousness, because Dr. Ben died broke, and that's a shame on black people. Why Dr. Ben got to die broke, but you get motherfuckers like Jay-Z that ain't telling you shit, that I'm a billionaire. Only thing that nigga doing is teaching you how to become a better consumer, a better clout chaser, and a better fake nigga. And he can go around tout his billions, while people like Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, they should have died with stacks. Scheherazade Ali should be rolling around in a Mercedes S-Class. She should have 2 or 3 of them. You dig what I'm saying? But we as a people tend to want shit for free. And that shit got to change. That shit has to change. So I'm not coming from the point of view of Polight should not have monetized his knowledge. I salute him for monetizing his knowledge. Whether or not he's a scammer, I don't know. I didn't invest with his ass. I tell you that goddamn much. And I've been following bruh since I've been loosely following his information since like 2014, 2015. Sometime I think I got exposed to Polight around 2015. And the brother had a lot of knowledge. But when it came to him fixing my credit, I'm not gonna pay you for that. Because I already know this. I know I've had like now, but I've had perfect credit my whole fucking life. And when I had to file bankruptcy, I rebuilt my shit. And just pay your goddamn bills on time. Don't borrow more than you can pay back. I didn't need that shit. You know what I mean? When he said he wrote 90 books, I was like, all right. When he said he wrote his own language, I was like, all right, you know. But he would say things like there are certain things that he would say about, you know, knowledge that I would go and read a book on, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, brother Polight was right about that. I'm glad he turned me on to this. Like some of the stuff that I understand about music. And I remember he was on Netter's channel once, and he was talking about music, and he referenced his old book. I forgot the name of the book now. It's been years ago since I read it, but I went on this I have this website that I go to where you can visit like archive, like you get a lot of PDF books that are out of print, and you can get them online, a lot of them. And that's how I got The Golden Age of the Moor by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, which is another book I get some of my Morris music knowledge from. So I'm not gonna say Brother Polight has not turned me on to things, but by the time he got to 2018, I'm like, all right, I didn't really find much substance behind that. You know, there's some good information, but by the time we got to about 2017, I'll say 2017, 2018, I was like, all right, you know, I think this brother done taught me all he can teach. And instead of me going publicly bashing him, I just stopped listening. You know, you ain't got to publicly bash people you don't listen to anymore. He said a few things like when he started talking about the credit repair and talking about this and that. I was like, all right, homie, too much. Let me just turn the channel and listen to somebody else. And then when he moved to LA, this nigga went from dressing like Shaka Zulu to dressing like a fashion-forward 2033 fun boy. Gucci this, Prada that, name brand this and that. See, I'm born and raised in LA. Let me tell you something about my city. I see these niggas come and go all the time. And people like him, and I don't know him. I've seen him at the club a few times. I've been in certain, like some of the same pictures he's taking on top of a Bentley talking about VIP. I was in the same room, but I was like, I'm not going to take a picture tonight because I don't want to feel like a fake ass flossing ass nigga. So I didn't take a picture. And I look on IG and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. I'm glad I didn't take a picture. I don't want to like this kind of shit going on here. But I'm born and raised in LA. So it's like, you ever listen to that song by Outkast, Hollywood Divorce? It starts off like a small town marriage. Lovely wife and life, baby carriage. Now all the stars have cars. Success, of course, but it ends in Hollywood divorce. Hollywood divorce. And I'm a star. Man, Lil Wayne spit. Snoop said, take our name, take our game. give us little fame. Go listen to Hollywood Divorce on the Idlewild soundtrack by Outkast. And that song will explain to you what people like me see all the time. People come to LA, cool, niggas be humble, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They be like, yeah, what's up, man? You know, they got a little regular. They get cool with this or that person. And then you see them change. You know? Then they go from regular, degular, to shit like this. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. I see it all the time. Cats come down into the Mer Park dressed like this. They be on Degnan and 43rd. King and Crenshaw in the Mer Park. What up, my brother? Let me sell you some incense. I got this shea butter. One is $15, or you can get 2 for $25, or 3 for $30. Then they get cool with this or that person. They start being let up in the club. Now all of a sudden, they not on Crenshaw in the daytime. Now you go to Hollywood at night, you go into the club, and you see them in the club, and out of nowhere, boom, they hugged up with white girls. Talk about, oh yeah, what's up, my brother? I done seen this Hollywood bug hit a lot of people, a lot of good people. That Hollywood bug ain't no joke, y'all. I'm telling y'all. That Hollywood bug ain't no joke. It get people feeling themselves. And they go from this to this is what Hollywood does to you when you're not grounded in who you are. And I see it all the time. I'm 42 now. I just turned 42 last Saturday. That means I've been partying in Hollywood. I pulled back the last 7 years, but I still go to certain, like if it's the right event and the bar is open, I'm there. I only go to open bar events these days. If you telling me to come to your club, I'm not coming. But if it's an event and it's an open bar, I'm there. Probably. But I've been doing this since I was 18. 1999. I've been out there. Century Club, Cabana, all that. I seen it over and over again. I started playing the drums professionally when I was, 14. When I was 18, 19 years old, I'm with these artists. And when I'm not on the drums, I remember Anderson .Paak when he was Breezy Lovejoy on Degnan and 43rd at the World Stage Theater, performing with Kamasi Washington and performing with Terrace Martin, Thundercat. I remember Breezy Lovejoy. I remember the piano bar on Selma and Cahuenga. That's now some hotel, the Drama Dream Hotel or some shit. They knocked it down. I remember them days. I remember the Roxy. I remember all that. I remember Nipsey Hussle when he was on Slauson and Overhill selling his mixtapes. La Brea and La Brea and Overhill and Stocker at the top of the hill where that intersection meets. The intersection between View Park and Baldwin Hills and Ladera Heights, where all three come together. If you black in LA and you live on the west side, you know what I'm talking about. That's every west side LA nigga from Inglewood to West Adams travels that intersection. And you remember if you was traveling that intersection 2005, 2004, this little big head, skinny little nigga selling tapes in the middle of that intersection, selling CDs, Slauson and Overhill, Simply Wholesome. Nothing to see Nipsey selling tapes, and then you walk into Sashi Teriyaki House, and you see John Singleton sitting there ordering some teriyaki shit to go. Cause that's some LA shit. We see this all the time. But what happens is, how that turns out is the ones who are grounded, people like Nipsey, he was the same when I saw him. I didn't know Nipsey like that, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the nigga who knew Nipsey. I just bought his mixtape a few times because he would always be on the corner hustling. But I remember running across him again about a year before he died. And his energy was the same as it was when he was hungry. See, the people born and raised here, we grounded. We kind of know what it is. And people who ain't from here, they come and they get caught up in that bullshit. And getting caught up in that bullshit get you caught up. So Brother Polight is facing charges now. And he's facing charges of, illicit acts and bullshit with a minor, with a 14-year-old. Apparently, one of his wife's daughters or some shit like that. I don't know if he did or didn't do it. But I've seen so many brothers and sisters get caught up in weird shit when they come out here. If you're not from LA and you plan on coming to LA to make it, ground yourself first, all right? Don't come out here if you don't know who you are. Don't come to LA if you are not grounded in yourself. Because there are the Hollywood vultures out there, and then there are the street vultures. See, the street vultures don't get a nigga who's aware where he's at. Street vultures ain't stupid. Hustle in the long term. Those are the ones that Hollywood people are gonna hustle. You people looking for fame, Hollywood will fuck you. Let me say that again. If you come out here looking for fame, Hollywood will fuck you. See, I'm born and raised here. When I was doing comedy 10 years ago, 2013, I knew I wasn't ready for fame. I knew I wasn't ready for fame 2013. I had famous friends. I was at all the parties, and I saw what fame would do. And I knew I wasn't quite ready for that shit. So when it came to my comedy, I stayed in the hood. I didn't even... Dewan, you gonna be at the Laugh Factory? Probably not. But I will be performing at the Family Room on Main and El Segundo. Dewan, you gonna be at the Improv? Probably not. But I will be performing at the Roscoe's in Long Beach. I knew I wasn't ready. Them years on the drums, when I was playing the drums, I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't ready. I made sure that I found a way to make money independent of Hollywood. That's why I have my company, Breakthrough Advocacy Services. That's why to this day I still have side companies. Not side main companies now, because shit, Hollywood ain't paying me like that yet. But I always made sure that I had real ways of making money. I went and made sure I got my college degree. I made sure I found ways to hustle without depending on Hollywood. That's why I got my company, Breakthrough Advocacy Services. That's where this comes out. This is 25 years in the making right here. I knew because I knew Hollywood. Breakthrough cards. You know what I mean? And you can also go to the Dewan B shop right now. Limited edition, 1865, my new t-shirt that I got out. Get yours right now, DewanB.com. I got these on the heavyweight, really, really good t-shirts too. These are them strong t-shirts. You can wash these hoes 5 or 6 times. You are in a limited edition Black American. Freedom established in 1865. Get yours right now, goddammit. DewanB.com. Oh, and if you're a first-time customer, type in the code TAKE5. Take5 will get you, or even if you haven't used it, I have a coupon called Take5. If you've used it once, you can never use it again. It's a coupon that I have that's out there. So once you use it, you can't use it again. But it's to all my listeners. And I only put it out there on the show for people who listen. If you put in the coupon code TAKE5, you get $5 off your order. All right? TAKE5. So one-time use coupon, so you can use it now, you can use it later. But you can only use it once. Take5. Back to what we talking about. So, Polight, he has his side hustles too. But his hustles include, I guess, credit repair or some shit like that. Sounded too weird to me. So if you put your money up into what he does, my advice to you would be to have better discernment. Just in general, not just with Polight. When people saying they can help you do this and they can help you buy a bunch of houses if you buy their book, all of that stuff is for sale and public knowledge. If you really care about this kind of stuff, you're going to have to research it yourself. When people want to sell you these packages for $10,000, $20,000, hell, most of the time it won't work is because, hell, even if it did work, you probably going to be too goddamn lazy to apply what the fuck they said to do anyway. So if you bought into that, then you bought into it. I'm not going to judge you. We all make mistakes. I done bought some bullshit too. I'm not going to sit there and act perfect. I done invested in shit that I thought was going to be the next thing, and boomty wham, boomty bam, I'm fucked over. So you gotta see this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And again, welcome everybody on YouTube. Welcome to everybody on Facebook. Welcome to everybody on Twitter. I'm on all 3 platforms. Thank you, chat room, for joining us. But I don't sit here. Me personally, whether or not Polight's a scammer, I'm not gonna jump into that. You know what I mean? He put some stuff out there that I would never buy. But people live and they learn. Everyone's playing out their own cards. So let's jump into Polight's cards, shall we? What kind of dude is Brother Polight? Let's read him from the cards. We've seen him from the physical point of view. Now let's jump into the spiritual. And I know I've been seeing Polight's been throwing out there saying he's going to Tasha K people for slandering his name. You can't slander me, buddy. I'm not saying you did anything. Nor do I give a fuck. You a spiritual brother. So you should understand I'm tapping in the spirit reading your cards. Right? And I got love for everybody out there. Now, if he did what he did, may he be the first in the jail if he actually did it. But if he didn't do it, may he be the first to be freed and may his name be cleared. So let's go into who he is. Donald Trump's the 3 of diamonds. I know people who are 3 of diamonds. And 3 of diamonds, they live a very rough life. Usually because they have very rough childhoods. Ace of spades and Mercury means they deal with they probably had a Polight probably had a parent in his life that abandoned him. And he was sort of left as a child to his own devices. A lot of Three of Diamonds people, they're sort of left to raise themselves in some sort of ways. Either a parent abandonment or a parent that was there but wasn't there to guide them and raise them. So Polight off top is somebody who dealt with a lot of issues as a child. And he got that 7 of Hearts in Venus. That tells me this nigga's a habitual line stepper. We're in the 7 of Hearts year. 7 of Hearts is all about crossing boundaries. 7 of Hearts is all about crossing boundaries. And exposure. And that's in his Venus position. And that 7 of Diamonds in Mars. I'm sorry, 7 of Hearts in Venus. That 7 of Diamonds in Mars. That's where a lot of these 3 of Diamonds have corrupt values. That 7 of Diamonds, that the values can be a little bit shady on that card, especially with it in the Mars position. So off top, here's how 3 of Diamonds people usually work. Usually 3 of Diamonds people are a hell of people when they teens, early 20s. It's not uncommon for 3 of Diamonds people to go to prison or go to jail or have some kind of life-altering circumstance in their late teens, early 20s. But they usually, by the time they get to their 30s, they mellow out. And they usually become good teachers. And they're good teachers because when they mellow out, they teach from their experience. And usually 3 of Diamonds people have very extreme experiences. So that right there, Polight is actually playing his cards out when he teaches. He's born to be a teacher. He was born to go through some heinous bullshit at a young age, then learn from that, grow and evolve into a higher thinking, higher level human being. That's what Polight was sort of put on this planet to do. Now, so far, so good. We see how he living. He's in these 7 of Diamonds years. See, the 7 of Diamonds is also a card of financial ups and downs. That tells me that what we see from Polight when we see him with the Bentleys and all this stuff is probably not his. I can almost guarantee you when it comes to all that flashing, he's probably flashing Floyd Mayweather shit, not his. 7 of Diamonds, they make a lot, they spend a lot. It's like 7 of Diamonds is a card that spins it as fast as it gets it. And it looks better than it really is. On the outside, it looked like one thing, but behind the scenes, it's kind of like, I can almost that 7 of Diamonds in Mars, that tells me this nigga's probably flashing other people's shit. Not saying that he's broke. I'm sure he has better money than he's ever had in his life. I'm sure of it. But going back to the Ace of Spades, it hides. In Mercury right here, the Ace of Spades hides. It doesn't reveal who it is. And Mercury is how you live your day-to-day life. It's how you operate. Mercury is how you deal with other people. So right here, this tells me that the person that Polight projects to be isn't who he is. Who he is, we got to go to Saturn. See, if you ever come to me for a reading, or if I'm looking at somebody, I don't just read everybody that I know. I don't just go around saying, hey, what's your birthday? Let me read you. I only read people when my spirit's like, hey, man, read this nigga. Something ain't right. Or if it's just something going on, I want to get a little clarity. So being a professional card reader, I don't just go around reading people willy-nilly. My spirit got to lead me to. My spirit got to lead me to read people. You know? And real quick, if you want to learn how to read people, I do have a class that I just did, and it's still available, and you can get personal time with me on. If you want to learn how to read playing cards yourself, my class is still available. Inbox me, email me to info@dewanb.com. I can teach you how to do what I'm doing right now. All right? And I got actual Google reviews if you're skeptical. Or you can ask somebody in the chat room. I'm sure there's people in the chat room that I read. Ask them, shit. Anyway, see, when it comes to this Ace of Spades right here, this Ace of Spades is a card that is not going to quite show you its hand. That's why like a lot of spiritual systems, a lot of like secret organizations, they may have an Ace of Spades as their card. Hell, let's go to the Ace of Spades liquor. The Ace of Spades, they charge your ass an arm and a leg for $10 worth of champagne. Look it up. Oh, look, I encourage y'all. Look up the quality of Ace of Spades champagne. Look at the quality. Ace of Spades is a basic ass bottle of champagne. But it comes to you in this beautiful bottle, like, look at me. I'm the Ace of Spades. Fancy. Look at it. Just look at it. Just look at it. Ace of Spades champagne. Look at me. Prim and proper. You want to drink me, don't you? My bottle is beautiful. For only $250, you can drink $10 worth of champagne. They're literally telling you on the cover, but y'all think these playing cards is just a poker game. Y'all think playing cards is just a game of poker. Okay. Gotta learn how to decode for yourself. Gotta learn how to decode for yourself. And they put these messages up in front of us all the time. Like those of you who saw my last show, I showed y'all John Wick, that scene from John Wick. If you play your cards right, ooh, ooh, ooh. If you play your cards right, ooh. Remember Bilal? Like Bilal and Common? Y'all saw John Wick? Ace of Spades. The card of death and rebirth. The card of death and rebirth also. Ace of Spades not only hides what's behind. Ace of Spades not only conceals what's behind closed doors. Ace of Spades is also the card of death and rebirth. So if you saw John Wick 4, when they said when this creepy looking motherfucker said, "Let's play a game," and they pulled the cards. What card did he pull? When they were at the poker table deciding who was going to die, they pulled the Ace of Spades. Those are two of them. Ace of Spades has more meanings, but those are two of the most significant meanings of the Ace of Spades. It hides what it really intends, and it's also the card of death and rebirth. So when I'm doing a card reading for someone and I see an Ace of Spades come up, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person is dying, but it does mean that a part of them is dying. Maybe that may be a way that they operate. That may be the end of a job, the end of a relationship, the end of a modality of thought, the end of a hang up, and it could mean you going to jail. So let's look a little deeper. Look, y'all, I know I'm different. Y'all used to people coming on talking about the mundane. I talk about the mundane, but I only talk about the mundane to get to a deeper level. Forward, and we get creation. And we move, and when we advance in society, when we advance as individuals, when we advance as lovers with our spouses, when we advance as better friends, better fathers, better mothers, better children, better brothers and sisters, when we fuse the physical world we live in with the spiritual journey that we're on, and we go from looking at religion as some way out thing that we won't experience until we die and Jesus put us in fucking heaven. Or we could take the spiritual understandings that we see and we apply them to today to live better lives here on earth. That's where I come from. You dig? And if this is too much for you, cool. Go back and follow one of them earthly ass niggas. All right? Another card is this 5 of spades. That's another death card and rebirth card. See, the 5 of spades is a violent ending. But on one point of view, when I'm reading it from your year point of view. But when I'm reading it from you as a person, this 5 of spades in Jupiter for Brother Polight, what this tells me is he has fluctuating spiritual values. Spades represent wisdom and spirit. And they represent your spiritual side of your game. And the 5s are ups and downs. 5s are wishy-washy. 5s can be hot, they could be cold. A 5 could be up, it could be down. 5 depends on the perception. So 5 is like a bipolar number. And so what that tells me is Brother Polight's the kind of person that he changes it up. But look what happened. Of course he changes it up. This is that 5 of spades in Jupiter. When he's in New York, when he on 125th, Hotep, my brother, let me wear this ankh. The black woman is God. We in Hollywood. White girl. You know, this is what the Hollywood brings out in the nigga. And I'm not saying this to judge him. Look, everybody's playing out their own cards. All I'm saying is this. I've seen this before. I'm born and raised here. I've seen this progression before. See it all too many times. But that's the journey that he's on. Because there's a 5 of spades in his Jupiter. That means he has extremes on both sides. But I touched on it earlier and now I'm about to dig into it. Who is he really? When I want to read somebody, when I want to know who you really are, behind the mask, go to your Saturn card. Your Saturn card tells me what really rules you. It tells me what drives you, what fuels you, what pushes you. It tells me your moral code of ethics. His Saturn card is a Jack of Hearts. Jack of Hearts is one of the 3 fixed cards. See, the Jack of Hearts, that's the preacher card. It's a very charismatic card. The Jack of Hearts can tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it. The Jack of Hearts is all about making you feel good. The Jack of Hearts is the card of the preacher. Okay? And when we say preacher, most of the time that means the dishonest preacher, because it's the person that's pulling on your heartstrings to manipulate you and get what they want out of you. I'm not saying all Jack of Hearts are like this, because one of the best people I ever knew in my life was also a Jack of Hearts. Sun card, my man Teddy Ray. Teddy Ray was a Jack of Hearts. And Teddy Ray, that brother wouldn't steal. I remember before he got famous, when he was struggling, Teddy Ray wouldn't steal shit from nobody. Teddy Ray was just somebody that when you was around him, you felt good. I miss him. This time last year, I'd have opened my window and I'd have heard him laughing upstairs. Y'all know that Teddy Ray laugh. And I miss Teddy. Teddy was born July 30th, so he was a Jack of Hearts person. But Teddy didn't use his Jack of Hearts to deceive people. Teddy used his Jack of Hearts to bring, because again, like I told you before, everybody has cards. It comes down to how you play them. You all play spades. You should know this. You all play poker. You play blackjack. You play speed. We all got the cards. We all got 13 cards. Most of us are just unaware. So it comes down to how you play your cards. But people like Teddy Ray use his Jack of Hearts to make you feel good, make you laugh. Other Jack of Hearts people use that Jack of Hearts to make you feel good, and then whoopty whamp, boomty bam, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. See, I can't look at the chat room. I ain't looked at the chat room in about 20 minutes. And I look over at the chat room, I got niggas saying, hey, if y'all want to know why I don't be looking at the chat room, it's because of shit like this. These niggas said, why is Polight looking like a bad Dave Chappelle character? See, that's why I'm over here trying to channel and read this nigga. You niggas talking about some goddamn bad Dave Chappelle character. Anyway. Y'all stupid. Let me go into Polight's cards, all right? Let's go into his yearly cards. And let's see how this trial is going to turn out for him. Let's see how this trial is going to turn out for him. All right, I'm over here. Switch. Let me go to the scene. Browser share. Boom. Here we go. So here we go. Polight's cards. Let's read. What's going on? Salute to Aquarius Maximus. Download her app. Scanning this shit down. Salute to Aquarius. One of the dopest people I've ever had the pleasure of coming across and working with. But this is his cards. He's a Leo, born 8/10. Let's look at his yearly. Let's look at this nigga's year. What's his year looking like? A year year's birthday to birthday. So he's coming up on the end of his yearly cycle. And he's in a Jack of Clubs personal year. The Jack of Clubs is a card of lies and deception. Clubs deal with mental and speech. And anytime you're dealing with a Jack, your Jacks are teenagers. Jacks are very immature. They're hard to get a hold of. They're royal, but they're petty. And the Jack of the Clubs is petty with his words. So that tells me right now that a lot of what Polight is saying is bullshit. He's in a Jack of Clubs year. I don't believe what comes out of most I don't believe the Jack of Clubs. All right. I'm not saying all Jack of Clubs. Not all Jack of Clubs people are dishonest, because when you run across an honest Jack of Clubs, they're gonna be so bluntly honest with you, they're gonna hurt your goddamn feelings. Or they'll be so honest and blunt with the truth, it'll really and they'll be funny with it. But most jack of clubs, when you're dealing with a situation like this, probably lying to you. See, a jack of clubs is lying to you. A jack of spades is stealing from you. A jack of hearts is there to sometimes break your heart. A jack of diamonds is going to make you feel one way but be doing something totally different. Every card has a code behind it. Every card has a code. And these codes are not easy. They're not hard to decipher. Like, one thing about cardology, this is not a hard science. It just takes a lot of repetition and you learning and being open to spirit. But this isn't something that that's going to take you 15 years to master. No. But at the same time, it will take you a lifetime to still never understand. So that's what's going on. So right there, it tells me that it's a lot of lying going on with this nigga right now, right? Then he has that King of Hearts in Pluto. That means he's dealing with a lot of heartbreak right now. He don't know who to trust. Polight is showing us one thing, but underneath it all, the brother's heartbroken. People he thought was going to have his back don't. You know, he's probably, if he did something, he's probably regretting doing whatever he did. And he has a reward of an 8 of hearts. It's another card on the high side, it's the Playboy card. But it's also could be a card of love beyond understanding. So that tells me, if something happens to him, if he gets locked up, there's somebody in his life that's going to stick with him through this. Maybe one of those women that he have. We'll see. But this is where I get concerned for him, right here. That environment card, that 5 of spades. I told y'all about that 5 of spades before. Sudden changes. That tells me in his year, there's a sudden change that's coming his way. And that could be interpreted as some kind of a conviction. That 5 of spades, something about with that being in that environment. If the 5 of spades was in his reward, then I would be like, no, he probably gonna get off free. If it was in his reward. But it's in his environment. That means there are people around him, even though on one hand, he has maybe one person he can trust. Overall in his environment, that dude got a lot of people he can't trust in his environment. There are a lot of people he needs to get rid of. And maybe once this sentence gets laid down, they'll leave his life. But this is a definite ending to a lifestyle, that 5 of spades. He's in for if he came to me for a reading last year, I would tell him he's in for a sudden change and alteration of his lifestyle. His life ain't gonna, at 40 years old, it ain't gonna be what it is at 39. That's one thing we can guarantee. And here, Polight, he's displacing 7 of diamonds. 7 of spades. And a 7 of spades, that's one of those cards right there. Displacement, how that works is, like, every card has its own energy. So when it's time for when your card is, when I'm reading your cards and I look at your displacement card, that tells me the energies that are available to you, that are open to you if you open and understand and choose to accept and manifest. So in his environment, he has to do spiritual work. That's all about faith and dreams. And so that tells me that that's a card of like self-mastery over material world. 7 of spades wants to look good, but it has to understand that the materials are secondary to who he really is spiritually. So maybe this time that he's about to go through, what it's doing is making him question his environment. And what is it? What are these jewels? What is it really for? I've been telling him, man, you may need to sit back and take a step back and really find out what's most valuable. Another card that got me concerned for him is his 7 of clubs peak. 7 of clubs is the card of lawsuits, the card of courtroom troubles. That tells me the high point of his year is going to be in court. This is the zenith of his year. Like, these are legal issues. The 7 of clubs. And then he has that Queen of clubs moon. That's the card of, that's the mother of law. If he violated a woman, if he truly violated that woman, he's about to pay for it. You can't have that Queen of clubs in your spread and violate women. When we get this judgment handed down, let me tell y'all something. We can believe it. Either way it goes. You don't violate women that have a Queen of clubs in your environment, in your cards, especially in your moon. Your moon is your emotions. That's the that's a feminine aspect. The feminine, the sun is your masculine aspect. The moon is your feminine aspect. You don't violate mama in a year that mama's in your moon. You're going to pay for that shit. Then he got an Ace of Diamonds as his transformation. Ace of Diamonds is a new beginning in values. So that means he's transforming his values. That means that Polight, whatever he's going through, that's about to change him all the way the fuck up. So why am I reading all this? Let me get through his cards and I'm going to give you my opinion. And then we'll check back in a couple weeks and see if I was right or not, all right? He has this Ace of Spades again in his Venus. New beginning, new lifestyle. Death of a current lifestyle. Venus is how you live your... Venus is all about your lifestyle. That tells me his lifestyle is in for a permanent change this year. And then Jupiter is our expansion. Queen of Spades, that's the mother of judgment. That means he has 3 queens in his deck, y'all. Them queens all deal with judgment. The Queen of Clubs, mental judgment, how you judge yourself. The Queen of Spades, the mother of judgment, overall judge, the godly judgment. Queen of Diamonds, judgment in your values. How do you value yourself? He has 3 judgment cards and a bunch of spades in his deck. That tells me that this brother's about to get locked up. Now, when I say locked up, I'm not sure if it'll be a long thing. He may plead out. He may plead. We all know he's pleading because he did. The judge said that he's going to plead. It may be one of those things where he pleads and he gets a house arrest or a certain sentence that, I don't know if it's one of those situations where he can turn over information. All I'm saying is that's the best scenario that he can look out for. Some kind of a judgment to where he pleads to where he can maintain some level of freedom, but it's going to change how he operates. Maybe become state's evidence. That's a possibility to him. And if you ask me, that's the best possibility for him. That is the best case scenario for him. And the worst case, well, we all know the worst case. Locked up, won't let me out. Locked up, won't let me out. But the brother's in for a change. So let's see how he looks next year. Let me hold on. Let me see here. Let me go to the other screen. Let me go here. Let me see here. Let me go to another part. That's his yearly spread. That's his yearly spread. Now let me go here to we talking about Brother Polight's birthday spread browser share. Now let me go to his 7-week spread. What's it looking like over these next 7 weeks for him? 8 of spades, willpower. He has a 9 of diamonds. He got those 10s coming up. Oh, wow. He's in his 7-week spread. Shows me he's in his head space. He's in a lot of head. Everything he has he's at a cross. He has no hearts. Except for in his Saturn, Ace of Hearts. Again, that's a renewal. That's 7-12. That's a new beginning. Ace of Hearts is the baby. Is the baby. Fresh start. And his court case is 7-7. Yeah. It's about to be some changes. Some changes for this dude. Real changes. So all I gotta say is this, man. That brother, I hope he gets it right. I hope that this time that he's going through right now, I hope that, he figures it out, I hope that he didn't do whatever they said he accused of doing. But if he did do it, then I hope he pays the motherfucking price for it. I don't know this dude. I don't believe in wishing bad on people, but I do believe in justice. And we also got to know the difference as people between those people who are out there who are selling, pipe dreams, those who come out, dress as, Mustafa, only to come back looking like a token ass white boy with the way he's dressing and getting down and changing. Know the difference between this and people who really out there doing their best. Because the government, one thing Polight's gonna hide behind is the government. You gonna believe them? Are you gonna believe them? And I feel him on that. The same white supremacists that started all this shit, I don't believe them most of the time. But also look at what you're accused of, and I look at how you move, and we got to be smart, we got to be smart. And I'm not saying we're always going to agree. We're not going to always agree. Because we have another brother going through legal issues right now that he's fighting. See, we know that Polight's going to plead out July 7th, according to the courtroom testimony. He's going to plead out July 7th. I don't know what that plea's going to lead to. The cards tell me that plea's going to lead to a restriction of his freedom. But then there are other brothers who get accused by them people. And you like, this sounds like some bullshit. And that's something, in my opinion, going on now with brothers like Rizza Islam. Rizza, they got some old weak ass charges against him. This is something that I don't, I'm objective when it comes to all these people. You see, I ain't really been talking about Polight and what he's going through this whole time because y'all know me, I'm a selfish asshole. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about none of these people. I don't. Very objective. But I saw this lawsuit against Rizza, And I went and looked because I'm like, hell, if he fraudulent, let me find out. Let me look through this shit. You know, and I looked through it and it was like, I used to work in mental health. And some of the shit that they accusing this dude of is weak sauce. It sounds as if this is the brothers that have been talking about them waxing Wompty Wamps and y'all trying to get them about the spot. So I saw this press release today that was released from Rizza, and I want to read it. Because when I read the press release, it kind of made me further be like, I don't know what's going on. But this is a 7 of Hearts year of exposure. Whatever's going on, my opinion, or your opinion or not, the truth will be exposed. But some of the exposure that's going to happen this year is the exposure of these motherfuckers that are going after our people. We don't know how these cards are going to play out yet. Let's watch them play out. But I saw this from Rizza, this press release, and I'm going to read it to you. And I'm going to, wherever your opinion falls on it is where your opinion falls on it. I don't believe in swaying other people's opinions. You're going to take away from it whatever you take away. But here's the press release from Rizza Islam released today, and because I guess he's having you want people to show up June 26th in the courthouse if you're here in LA. Well, in the fall, here it is. In the fall of 2015, the California Attorney General's office filed criminal charges against Ronnie Rizza Islam, to which Rizza has maintained his innocence. Rizza was charged with presenting false Medi-Cal claims and insurance fraud for acts which are alleged to have occurred between the years of 2010 and 2013. The charges were not filed until 2 years after the alleged criminal acts. For nearly 7 years, Rizza has been fighting to clear his name of the charges. The government alleges that Rizza was involved in a scheme where he pretended to teach students to refrain from drug use so others could build the government Medi-Cal programs. Rizza has retained criminal defense attorney Jeremy McLyman, founding attorney of something law firm. Let me tell y'all something about that. I worked at a mental health agency for 10 years, and I billed the county for services rendered. And I was always a straight-laced square. I don't believe in none of that shit. But let me tell y'all a lot of the people that work in the county. Your county, your city, the people that work in the department, DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, all those Medi-Cal programs, 90% of them motherfuckers is overbilling and billing for shit that they didn't do. And the county knows it. Happens every day. I'm not excusing nothing for you dumb niggas out there to be like, are you excusing? No, I'm telling you how the shit works. I'm saying even if the brother did do it and his people did do it, my response to this is, if they gonna charge people for overbilling the county, let's start with the managers of these mental health agencies and doctors' offices. See, this is something that they do when they want to get a black person out the paint. You know why this rang so familiar with me? Let me see if I can find the article. The reason why this rang a bell with me was this here. All right, here we go. My doctor, Dr. Lawrence Robinson. This is the guy I told you was my mentor in working with kids. When I first started working with kids, Dr. Robinson is the reason why I have the heart towards children and towards giving back and the greater good that I have right now. For those of you who know my experience, I started working with Dr. Robinson back in 1995, King Drew Medical Center. And I was working with children. Dr. Robinson had a program to where he worked with children and like had a Saturday school at King Drew Medical Center. But the program was really effective in South Central. Dr. Robinson got sponsors, and when he couldn't find sponsors, he used his own money to take sometimes upwards of 150 children from South Central LA to King Drew Medical Center. I'm sorry, to University of Santa Barbara, a couple years. 1 year at UC San Diego, and 1 year I think we did Pepperdine. But he would take these kids from South Central LA to the university to teach and have them stay on campus for a whole week and teach them what it's like and show them that it's more than what goes on in the hood. And a couple weeks ago, about 2 months ago now, we all had a reunion. This doc getting up there in age, but this was us. This was us. This is me. I was in my teens and 20s when Prince right here. I met this young man when he was 7, 8. I was with this young man when his mom died. When his mom had an incident. All these kids. This is Paul. I met him when he was 6. You know, this was all of us. And Dr. Robinson was really out there doing big work. And this is his wife, Dr. Calmez. And one thing about LA, when you out there, this is Prince, Crenshaw High School. This kid, born and raised South Central, lost his mom at a young age. Paul lived in Watts, raised by his grandparents. Both of them are both successful men in life. Well, one thing about the city of LA, when black people are doing right by other black people, they like targeting them, and they target them with bullshit. And it's usually, that's why like people ask me, DeJuan, why don't you take breakthrough advocacy services and get government funding? I'm like, hell no. If you want my expertise, you're gonna have to pay out your pocket. I ain't about to be building the government. They find reasons to fuck with your black ass. And they did that to Dr. Robinson. This article's from 2005. I remember when 2001, when my doctor telling me that they're gonna try to shut down this King Drew Medical Center, because King Drew Medical Center, for all the King Drew Medical Center's faults, it was the #1 trauma center in the country, and it saved a lot of lives. And it also had a lot of top-level doctors. And Dr. Lawrence Robinson was one of the top doctors in the country when it came to immunology. And my doctor, Dr. Robinson, told me 4 years before it happened that they're probably going to try. They're going to try to fire him. And there were 2 other black doctors in King Drew Medical Center that were top black doctors in their discipline, in their field. And he said there's no way they're going to shut this hospital down having me and these top doctors there. So they're going to try to find a way to fire me. So what they did was they got my doctor, Dr. Robinson, for basically billing. He didn't hurt nobody. He didn't harm nobody. He didn't do nothing to nobody that did anything. They said that what he was doing was leaving work and going to his other job while still on the clock. The medical center, they targeted the top black doctors and got rid of them. And then after they got rid of them, they closed down King Drew Medical Center. But that's one thing they do here in LA. When they want to get you fucked up on some bullshit, it's going to be around something that they know everybody's doing. Same thing they're doing right now currently with State Senator Curran Price. Same thing is going on with Curran Price. They're trying to suspend one of the last black city councilmen over some bullshit. It's always something petty that doesn't hurt or harm anybody. You dig? So from what I see, Rizza is involved in something similar. Let's go a little deeper into what it's saying in the article. For nearly 2 decades, Rizza Islam has been a leader, teacher, and a mentor to thousands of individuals. Since the age of 11, Rizza has unselfishly poured into his community to teach a program that has bettered the lives of countless people. Rizza has taught on topics such as health, history, self-worth, knowledge of self, and economic independence, to name a few. Going places most would not, Rizza has worked to prevent proximity crime in the black community, crime that is often but erroneously referred to as black-on-black crime. Rizza's track record in the fight for equal treatment of black folks is remarkable. And it is. I've seen his brother's work firsthand out on these streets. And y'all know me, I don't fuck with most of these niggas. I think most of these niggas, it's people out there that y'all like, that I see y'all mention their names in my chat room. I think they full of shit. But I'm not going to tell y'all that because, hey, at the end of the day, you going to have to find it. We all going to find out for ourselves at the end of the day. So I'm not going to be the one giving the bad news. You know? Never thought Rizza was one. But if you do, that's on you. I'm not going to tell you how to think. The allegation that Rizza defrauded the government out of money by pretending to teach students is contrary to his fabric. Ask yourself, every time we see Rizza on camera, his brother's always teaching. This cat even be on 5150 trying to teach Corey Holcomb ignorant ass stuff. Well, any of you ever seen Rizza talk and he's not teaching? He either gonna be teaching about some vaccines, about some nutrition, about something Farrakhan said. Nigga. So I just don't see a dude that's running his mouth all the goddamn time, not doing not teaching. Now I'll tell you one thing that where they can get him, because I saw this when I used to work in mental health. They give you strict guidelines, and I'm not saying where they can get them, but this is the angle that they're working on. When you're dealing with Medi-Cal, when you're dealing with billing, there are strict services that you can bill for and you can't bill for. Let me give you an example. When I worked in mental health, we used to do things like when I used to work with kids, 2009, 2010, we would have like video game therapy where I would like play video games with a child and then use that video game to process their emotions. Well, like around like 2010, 2011, sometime around there, I remember the county changing its rules. And they said that we cannot use Medi-Cal, we cannot use video gaming as a billable activity. So if you play video games with a kid, you couldn't write it in your billing. And if you write that in your billing, that means you could be defrauding the government. So say if you're someone who wrote in your notes, in your progress notes are these things that we used to write when you work in mental health and you're working with children or families or adults or whoever. When you're done working with that client, you have to write these things called progress notes. And progress notes tells the county what you did in that service. So say you work with a child and you work with a kid on their depression. And whatever you worked on in that, the billing has to be towards their mental health goals. So just say I work with a child and that child has mental health goals of, okay, kid screams uncontrollably in class. The goal is to get child from screaming uncontrollably 8 times a week in class. Currently, client screams crazy 8 times a week. We're going to write a mental health goal to titrate that treatment, to titrate their screaming down to twice a week. So we're going to do a 6-month plan on getting the child from screaming from 8 times a week to twice a week. And everything you do in those notes are supposed to be tied towards towards helping a kid achieve that goal. If it's interpreted that what you did doesn't link a child to that goal, it can technically be billed as Medi-Cal fraud because you didn't do anything. And what they'll do is if you work for an agency like the agency I used to work with, Medi-Cal will bill that time back to the agency. And if you own the company yourself, they'll bill that back to you. Or if they want, if they say that your notes are erroneous and egregious, now we can turn around, or if they say you had a HIPAA violation or something like that, now they can turn around and file criminal charges on you. So coming from someone who's worked mental health for a long time, I know the games that they can play. And that's also why, like I told y'all before, when it comes to my company, yes, can I get funding for my company? Yes. Well, what I do with Breakthrough Advocacy Services, can I probably get a government contract doing this? Helping with IEPs, especially as good as I am with IEP work. Nigga, you ain't gonna get nobody better than me when it comes to IEP support. Can I get a government deal? Yes, I probably can. But I ain't dealing with that billing bullshit that they be putting people through. Not doing it. It looks to me as if that's what Rizza is faced with. And for that, I say he has let me see here. If you want to and again, this isn't even something that Rizza asked. I don't even know Rizza like that. Like we talked a couple of times, but I don't know. I haven't talked to. I've never really sat down and talked to Rizza. We've had, we've said what's up in passing. So this isn't something that Rizza reached out for me to do. This is me doing it on my own, because in the limited time that I've had with that brother, I feel that he's one of the few people that I'd be willing to lend my support to. Most of these niggas out here, I'm going to tell them to hold their known nuts. I just don't trust them. But Rizza's one of the few people that, me personally, I felt that his heart's in the right place. Everything else, I'm not going to judge. I just feel that brother's heart's in the right place. So if you want to help with his legal defense, I don't get nothing out of this, nor was I asked to do this. And I seriously, 100,000% doubt Rizza Islam will ever know that I'm doing this. It's not about Rizza knowing or that. It's about supporting the brother. Me coming from mental health, this kind of sticks a chord to me because I saw how they did my doctor, Dr. Robinson. I know how the Medi-Cal billing system works. And for a brother that's been giving us all that he's been giving us, for them to try to take him down over some fucking Medi-Cal billing, I don't like that. So, secure, like, here, this is what I'm going to do. Mods, I forgot I could put this in the chat room. Paste. I just put it in the chat room. Rizza's legal defense. So if you feel so inclined to, there it is in the chat. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to also put this in the. I'm also going to put this over in the description after the video's over with. Let me see something real quick. Let me go to Rizza's cards. What does this card say? Ooh, Rizza is a 6 of diamonds. 6 of diamonds are very value-based people. This tells me that Rizza's the kind of person that, my mom's a 6 of diamonds. 6 of diamonds is a karmic card. So if you're a 6 of diamonds, karma's big. You better live your truth. Live your truth. And he's in a Jack of Diamonds year. That means he's dealing with people in his environment that he's going to have to, some people that he's been around since at a young age, he's going to have to question, watch out for. His reward is a 3 of spades. That means it's a lot of confusion that he's in for this year. Well, this tells me his environment's a Queen of Clubs. Rizza's going to have to he's going to have to write. Queen of Clubs is about writing your environment, writing what you want down in his environment. That tells me that he's going to have to He has people around him that something keeps telling me that there are people around Rizza that he's gonna have to re-question. And I'm not even saying in his inner circle, more so in his outer circle. That it's people in his camp that he's gonna have to get away from. 5 of Spades peak. That tells me that he is also in for a new beginning this year. Rizza's definitely in for a new beginning. New start. But it's a peak card. With it being in peak, that's a little bit different than transformation card. Polight was in transformation. His is in peak. Peak tells me that with it being in peak, that tells me that, because the peak is a positive position, that tells me that his renewal, his rebirth, is going to be something that's more positive for him. I don't know when his court date is and starts, so I'll have to go into that to really see the decision, because this just is more so his year. He has that 4 clubs and moons. That means he's gonna have he has a lot of balance coming into his life this year. In his mind, mental balance is what he needs to seek. He does not have any ace of spades in his deck, other than as a vertical card. Vertical cards don't really do anything. So nothing that's gonna alter his lifestyle in a bad way. So, okay, this will be interesting to see how this plays out for Rizza, how these cards play out for him. When I know more about his court date, I'm gonna actually go into reading how that's gonna turn out. I won't be able to read that until I know, really more about his court date. But we're gonna monitor the situation both physically and also through the cards. We're gonna monitor the situation with Rizza. But when I look at it off top, I'm looking at something that it's just weak sauce. It's weak sauce. And let's just play white man's advocate. Let's just play white advocate. Say Rizza did overbill Medi-Cal. Say he did. All right. Let's play white man's advocate. Nigga, y'all know how much money the county spends on illegal immigrants in these same Medi-Cal programs? I did a whole show on this before, maybe because I have a whole bunch of new subscribers. The last time I did a show on this, I probably only had like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. One day I got to do a show again on how much money is wasted in that mental health industry. Y'all know how many clients that we had that couldn't speak English? So now most of the people who work mental health aren't black anymore on a ground level. They're hiring basically only Mexicans. And the way they do it when they bill to the county, they bill through the child, not the parent. So if the child was born here, it don't matter that the parent's illegal. I remember I had one client. She had 5 children, only 23 years old. I'm sorry, 6 children, 5 with services. She was illegal, and so was all 4 of her baby daddies. 5 of her 6 kids were getting mental health services. She was only 23. Couldn't speak English. And the oldest kid she had at 14, he was 9. That nigga had silver teeth. I ain't never seen a good acting kid with golds or silvers. When you see a kid with silver teeth or gold teeth, you know that's a little ragamuffin right there. And I said that to say, we used to spend, when I billed the county, our rates for a case manager was $2. It was something like $2 a minute. And each session with a client will be at least 60 minutes. And when you add in travel time and note writing time, usually about you can carve out about a 2-hour block per client. So one family of illegals had 5 kids, and there's 3 people on my team. I used to work in a department called Full Service Partnership, FSP. We had a clinician, a case manager, and a parent partner. 3 people for every 1 client. The clinicians, they bill, and their billing rate is somewhere around $3 or $4 a minute. Some stuff $5 a minute. And they billing 2 hours a kid. I'm billing 2 hours a kid. The parent partner is billing 2 hours a kid. Per kid, per week. $2 a minute. Expand that over hundreds of kids in an agency whose parents came here illegally, and add up the millions, the hundreds of millions of dollars that the county is wasting on people who came here illegally and can't raise their goddamn kids. And y'all want to tell me that they want to sue this dude for not teaching, when every time we see this nigga on camera, he running his goddamn mouth? Are you goddamn serious? Are you goddamn serious? So when we're talking about these kind of cases, we got to use our judgment. We got to use our brains. We got to use our minds. Are we talking about somebody who, when you met them, they hear only the change and accusations brought against them deal with women in your own family? And again, those are accusations. Polight could be innocent. I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty. I don't know. But one thing we tend to do as black folks when we deal with people in the conscious community or anybody that fights for black rights, one thing we tend to do is we tend to group them all together. It's like if you love black people, you got to be grouped with every other black person that speaks for black people. Let me tell y'all something. We are not all the same. We are not all the same. We aren't. And you want to be smart and get to know the nuances of the people that you're looking into before you go judging with a broad brush like a white supremacist. Read between the lines. Look beneath the surface. And trust your spirit. Trust your gut. And don't be arguing with other people. If somebody else sees it differently, then fine. Let them have it. Crack a few jokes. Have a little bit of fun. But let them have it. You can't convince people. Just like I'm not trying to convince none of you. I'm just giving you my objective point of view. I don't know either one of these brothers personally. I've run across both. Both live in my city. I know people who know both people. I know some of the people Polight hang around with. And that's kind of the reason why I did start kind of backing off him. I do kind of look at you by the company you keep. And some of the niggas I know he know here in LA, I'll be like, you that nigga? All right. But I also know people that Rizza know. So, again, take from it whatever you may, all right? I want to thank y'all who came to my cardology course, how to read cards. If you want to learn how to read these cards like I did today, by learning how to read yourself, email me info@dewanb.com. The course is ready. If you took your course last Sunday, we're going to have our follow-up July 9th. The follow-up to learning how to read your cards. Book your reading at breakthroughcards.com. And let's all sit back and watch how these cards play out. I want to thank y'all again. C. Diggs, Deep Impression, Jordan, Quan, Ella Feats G. You asked me if I was doing readings today. I would have. I might do some readings. I think I might come back on tomorrow and do some readings. I think I'm gonna come back tomorrow and do some readings later on today. So I got to get the F on out of here. I appreciate y'all for listening. And remember this: there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. Follow your own self. Don't be nobody's cult. Don't be following people blindly. Be objective and trust your own internal instinct when dealing with these people out here, all right? My name is Dewan. I'm out.